Hello, I'm 48 Hours True Crime, and today we'll be delving into the case of Leilani Simon. I'll begin by sharing the background of this tragic story, then walk through the timeline of events, and finally offer my analysis. Leilani Marie Simon, born in November 1999, spent her life in Georgia. She had 3 children, each with different fathers: Zane with Cody, Quinton with Henry, and Sky with Daniel. The family of 4 lived in a 3-bedroom home on Buckhalter Road, Savannah, alongside Leilani's grandmother, Billie Jo Betterton, her brother Paul, and her boyfriend Daniel, who was also Sky's father. Leilani and Daniel struggled with substance abuse, and their relationship was often troubled. At one point, Billie Jo gained custody of Zane and Quinton, and Leilani was required to pay $150 in child support. Tensions escalated, leading Billie Jo to file an eviction order against Leilani and Daniel. Moving to the timeline of the crime, on October 5, 2022, Leilani called 911 to report that her 20-month-old son Quinton was missing from his playpen. She claimed she woke up to find the front door unlocked, suspecting someone entered and took Quinton while she was asleep. Investigators later pieced together events that raised suspicion. The night before Quinton's disappearance, Leilani had reportedly taken multiple drugs and made an early morning visit to a trailer park, captured by security footage, where she threw an item in a dumpster. She later claimed it was spoiled food. When Quinton didn't turn up, authorities focused on a chilling theory. They suspected Leilani had murdered her son and disposed of his body in the trailer park dumpster. Tragically, Quinton's remains were found on November 18th in a landfill where the dumpster contents had been emptied. Due to decomposition, a clear cause of death couldn't be determined. In November 2022, Leilani was arrested, facing multiple charges, including malice murder and concealing a death. After a 10-day trial in October 2024, she was convicted on all 19 counts. While Leilani claims innocence, the state's evidence, though circumstantial, was deemed strong enough to secure her conviction. This raises the pivotal question: was Leilani guilty of murder? I'll now review the factors both supporting and challenging this conclusion. Quinton endured difficult treatment from his mother, Leilani. A teenage babysitter recalled 2 disturbing incidents. Once, Leilani pushed Quinton into a pool when he had no flotation devices, and on another occasion, she struck him across the face. Tragically, Quinton vanished under mysterious circumstances, while Leilani was the only adult awake. That night, she left the house, visited a dumpster, and discarded something, later changing her story multiple times. Initially, she claimed she went to bed around midnight and woke up at 9 a.m. Later, she admitted to going out after midnight, first claiming it was to pick up pain medication for her recent wisdom tooth removal. She alleged that her friend Misty was going to meet her at a gas station, though her friend's actual name was Melissa, or Missy, who later confirmed she never met Leilani that night. Leilani eventually stated that she went out to pay off a $20 debt to a drug dealer. After realizing Quinton was missing, she called her boyfriend Daniel before opening the front door. If she genuinely thought someone had entered the house through that door, why did she hesitate to open it immediately? In a tragic turn, Quinton's remains were discovered in a landfill linked to the dumpster Leilani had visited just hours after she reported him missing. Despite initial speculations, toxicology tests showed no drugs in Quinton's system, ruling out an accidental overdose, a theory raised due to the drugs around Leilani and Daniel. Oddly, the back of Leilani's vehicle was covered in rice cereal, which some believed was an attempt to mask odors. Weeks later, Leilani even tried to shift suspicion to Daniel, claiming he left the house that night, although a secret recording revealed her admitting she was the one who went out. As for exculpatory factors, no direct witnesses, videos, or physical evidence directly linked Leilani to the crime scene. The state couldn't prove the exact cause of Quinton's death, though the autopsy ruled out overdose. Additionally, Quinton's room had a strong odor of vomit, suggesting that if his death was accidental, Leilani's guilt would lie only in concealing evidence rather than murder. Daniel initially reported seeing Quinton alive early that morning, which, if true, would complicate the timeline of events involving Leilani's trip to the dumpster. After considering all evidence, I believe Leilani was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. In my view, Leilani was deeply self-centered, impulsive, and driven by her need for pleasure. Whether through drugs or tumultuous romantic relationships, she was often desperate for validation from her partner, sending him texts expressing her insecurity and need to feel attractive. Her life was fueled by a relentless pursuit of pleasure and gratification, leading to a series of high-intensity emotional outbursts and impulsive choices. On the night of Quinton's disappearance, a tragic set of circumstances seemed to align. A fight with Daniel, her wisdom tooth pain, drug use, and an unfulfilled encounter with her drug dealer. In my opinion, these factors, combined with her unstable personality, contributed to an unspeakable tragedy. Leilani's failure to find satisfaction from her illicit encounters only deepened her fixation on Daniel, igniting a desperate need to capture his attention. Tragically, this desperation, combined with her resentment toward Quinton, pushed her toward a deadly plan. In her mind, getting rid of Quinton would bring her closer to Daniel, so she carried out the unthinkable. She killed Quinton and discarded his body in a dumpster. Overconfident, Leilani assumed that if authorities didn't locate him within 24 hours, they'd likely never find him, mistakenly relying on statistics related to stranger abductions, though irrelevant when the suspect is the victim's mother. Her lack of remorse was evident just weeks after the crime. She and her mother were seen drinking at a beach bar near Tybee Island, underscoring her disturbing detachment. In my view, life without parole is a fair sentence for Leilani. Though I'm generally cautious about such a harsh penalty, her case warrants it. Reflecting on Quinton's life, it's clear he never had a safe or nurturing environment. Leilani's impulsivity and erratic behavior made her dangerous, and this outcome feels like a tragedy that was all too inevitable. Many people seek pleasure and excitement, whether through drugs, relationships, or other means, but most manage to do so without harming others. In Leilani's case, her pursuit of pleasure lacked any empathy, leading to devastating consequences. For her, Quinton's life meant nothing compared to fleeting validation from an unstable relationship. Interestingly, the dynamic between substance abuse and romantic pursuit can seem contradictory. Drugs offer an intense, short-lived high, while romance is typically valued for its stability and emotional depth. Yet when romance becomes just another source of temporary satisfaction, it becomes as expendable and self-centered as substance abuse. In this case, Leilani wasn't seeking a partner for long-term fulfillment. Instead, she used relationships like a quick fix, another high, another way to escape. Just as drugs are a financial transaction, so too was her version of romance, pursued, exploited, and discarded without thought for the future. Romantic relationships require a level of emotional depth and empathy, qualities that Leilani seemed to lack. Her inability to understand or care about others' feelings led to constant failure in her romantic pursuits. While her impulsivity and anger likely contributed to these struggles, a lack of empathy played a central role. She could get access to substances easily, but romance was a different story. It demanded more than just transaction, and that left her with an unfulfilled need. This imbalance left Leilani constantly wanting more: drugs, romance, and a life free from burdens like work. She pursued these desires without boundaries, making everything expendable except for her sources of immediate pleasure. In her world, anything or anyone could be traded for gratification, creating a dangerous mindset where nothing was truly valued and everything was a mere resource in her pursuit of self-indulgence.